Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for lunch. Hopefully, you've got a nice little lunch by your side while we go through some of these slides. I just picked up my usual at Frontigers, so I'll be having lunch with you today. So we want to give you a little preview on South Farm, but before we jump right in, if you're having any technical difficulties, please feel free to text, or I'm sorry, write in the notes column um, on, I believe we're on GoToWebinar, and I've got Ivo Andov also on the line, and he'll be looking for those if anybody's having any challenges, and try to answer those as quickly as possible. Ivo has been my right-hand man on these presentations for like 7 or 8 years, and so he helps set these up. And he'll also be going through some questions at the end. We've received several questions from you before this presentation, and we'll also probably get some questions throughout the presentation. So feel free to send those over.
Thanks, Casey. And while you're at it, just wanted to chime in. If anybody has any questions about any of the slides throughout the presentation that they want answered, that I can answer on the back end, that we don't have to do at the very end during the Q&A, I'll be paying attention. So please, any kind of smaller questions along the way, send them over, and I'll try my best to get some answers for you.
Great, thanks, Evo. So we are very excited to share with you this next phase of the Farm District. As many of you have been following, the Farm District, the first phase of the Farm District has been very successful. It's all sold out except for one home site, and the houses have all filled in beautifully around the parks and the pasture, and it's just nice to see everything start to bloom out there, including the cherry trees that Stevens planted and some of the other orchard trees that are an incredible and talented landscape architect has designed into these spaces. So just a quick recap on 2017, we reached about a $40 million mark in home sales last year. That was approximately 30 million in new home sales and approximately 10 million in resales. That was about an $8.2 million increase over 2016. So this includes new homes, about 38 new homes and 17 resales. So a really healthy environment out here as far as sales go. As you would expect with Seattle and Bellevue and Redmond and Kirkland and Tacoma and Gig Harbor, every area around the Puget Sound growing right now. There's obviously a lot more interest in having a beach house. A lot of the new people moving into town are discovering us. They're looking for their place away from home, and this is all driving sales. What's also driving our market is this very consistent demand for vacation homes. If you've watched previous webinars or ever taken my town tour, I talk a lot about the demographics here and how strong our demographics are, being so close to the Puget Sound. The biggest thing is the population around the Puget Sound and the lack of high quality destinations on the coast. A lot of people from Seattle would head down to the Oregon coast, Cannon Beach, places like that. But now with Seabrook, that's all starting to shift back up to the Washington coast because of our closer proximity. And what's driving this growth in cottage rentals is the pent-up demand for great vacations at the beach. And there's 1/10 of the lodging inventory on the Washington coast compared to the Oregon coast. So we get the question all the time, well, when's Seabrook going to hit a saturation point? And because of the only having 10% of the inventory, yet way more population, way more household income, in the Puget Sound, we don't see an end to this anytime soon, at least over the next decade or so, because basically build it, they will come. Um, so that's that steady growth. So we've averaged about 20% year-over-year growth the last 10 years in a row, and we're already off to another great start in 2018. And again, what's driving this growth is not just the new buildings in Seattle, because there's a lot of people we're waiting to see move into the Puget Sound area, but it's really just this really strong base of households that have great incomes and love the Northwest, and they're looking for a very simple getaway away from the city, escape the traffic and the madness, and get out of their cars. And a lot of people are discovering Seabrook. Obviously, you have to drive here, but if you've been here, you know that once you get here, you do not have to get back in your car, and that's probably one of the most appealing parts of Seabrook for anyone that's looking to get away from the city. Today, there's nearly 400 homes sold and complete. We're just about to approach that 400 number. We're in the 390 range right now. There's 210 homes in our cottage rental program. There's 15 businesses in Seabrook since we started with Mill 109. And then we have nine new merchants opening in 2018. So we're really anxious to get all of our new shops opened up. And as you know, before you build really successful retail, you have to build a critical mass of homes to support that retail. So now we have more than hit that critical mass of residential or homes, occupiable homes in Seabrook. Now we're on the cusp of hitting the critical mass in retail, meaning right now we have about 18,000 square feet of retail that is complete, and stores and shops that are open. But when you hit about 25,000 to 30,000 square feet of retail, our consultants say that's when you've hit a critical mass, and that's when the area becomes an actual destination for retail. Right today, we are not not a retail destination. Yes, the businesses are doing quite well, and yes, we all enjoy going into our shops, but it's not a legitimate retail destination until we hit that 25,000, 30,000 square foot mark. So right now, what's under construction in the town center is approximately 23,000 square feet of retail to add on to our 18,000 square feet of retail. So we're about to hit that critical mass, and by the end of this summer, we should be there. It's very exciting because that's really what puts any destination town on the map, from Cannon Beach to Carmel to Park City to La Jolla. Those places where the highest concentrated real estate values are surrounding these town centers. Um, and for those of you who have built a new home or have heard horror stories about building a new home, we can tell you that if you build out at Seabrook, we have high expectations to make sure that you're happy. We've been using a third-party survey company out of the East Coast that's been surveying our homeowners shortly after the closing of their home and their walkthrough of the home. And then 1 year after closing, we check in with them, or I should say Guild Quality checks in with them and does another survey to make sure how we followed up. And we have a 95% score with our homeowners. That means that the process was easier than expected and that they would recommend Seabrook to a friend. In fact, I think the last 12 to 15 surveys that I've seen come in from our homeowners that have recently moved in, we're getting 100% on those surveys. So I can't say enough about the team that we've built out here. They know how to build great houses, and they know how to take care of our customers, and that's what Seabrook is really all about, is exceeding our customers' expectation. So I talked a little bit about hitting that critical mass of retail, hitting that critical mass of shops and restaurants. And you really don't, these new towns like Seaside, Florida and Rosemary Beach, these new places don't really hit the early majority and the late majority segments of the market until you've hit that critical mass. So while it might look like Seabrook is well underway or has you know, it's not a secret anymore. It actually still is a secret to most people in the Puget Sound. We have done some surveys that have told us that still there's more than 70% of the population isn't even aware that Seabrook exists, and probably less than 10% of the population has actually visited Seabrook. But this new town center that we're building is going to change all of that. And we expect once we hit that critical mass of retail shops, restaurants, and entertainment for all of us, we're going to now start to see that early majority in this life cycle of Seabrook, and that's when prices start to increase. The more experiences and the more things to do in Seabrook, that will drive out more of these early majority groups, and then we'll segue into the late majority groups. So late majority groups, they want to see everything complete. They want it 100% done. And thankfully, we've had lots of innovators and early adopters that have bought into the dream of Seabrook and have been supporting Seabrook from the very beginning, and we thank you so much for that. And now we're really entering this next new segment, which is a great opportunity for anyone who's thinking about buying a home out here and is looking for a solid long-term investment where they can enjoy with their families and friends, but also be investing in something that has long-term value. And don't look any further than places like Seaside, Florida, and these new towns that have been built on the East Coast. We're the first new town on the West Coast, so this is still a new thing for people in the Northwest. But that's why I say focus on those really great retail town centers that are here on the West Coast. So who's buying our houses? Well, here's one of our couples that actually just purchased a new home. They are super happy with their new beach house. They're actually in the South of Market neighborhood. We're really happy to have them here. And they're, of course, sharing their experience with friends and families. But um, Seabrook is really all about inclusivity. Everyone that's buying these homes, we all come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors, and ages, and backgrounds, and that's really, it's that inclusivity that is such a draw to so many people here in Seabrook, and that's what we want. We have owners that are in their 20s, and we have owners in their 80s, and possibly one that's approaching their 90s. And that is why we built Seabrook. We wanted to make sure that there was something for everyone here, that everyone felt welcome and included. And what really makes all of that possible is the accessibility with the walkability and the ability to ride bikes and even be in a wheelchair. There are spaces for everyone to enjoy in Seabrook, and everyone is welcome. So some of the people are purchasing just because they want a family beach house, but they're also, anytime you're buying any type of real estate, you also want it to be an investment. That's not the primary reason people are purchasing, but it is, they're looking at the business fundamentals and the demographics and our business model, and they're seeing this as a good long-term investment and a safe place to put their money. Our full-time residents, we're seeing more people retire here, both singles, couples, and families. And then also our town merchants that are running these businesses have been moving in and being pioneers for this new town. So this is really what makes Seabrook so fun, is having all this variety of people buying and being a part of our new town. Um, so there's some great perks for full-time and part-time residents. Number one, we have the full-time residents enjoy a close-knit community. Don't be surprised if people remember your name when you're walking through Seabrook or going to the pizza place or the candy store or the bakery. Our the reason we want local owner-operated businesses is because we want you to be able to get to know the owner and operator and for them to get to know you. And you don't get that in a franchise environment. Um, the second part that people really like is the security and the small town lifestyle, the basic amenities and basic needs within a short walking distance. We also have an amazing on-site North Coast Montessori school. We have approximately 23 kids. We're actually doing some design right now for an expansion plan because right now we have a lot of kids that are a lot of parents and kids that are looking to put their students in our school, and we just couldn't be happier with our teachers and the leadership that we have around the school. The other benefit that both um, grandparents and parents get to enjoy here is having a free range childhood. Those owners that spend a lot of time here, either on a part-time basis as their vacation home, or those that live here full time, really appreciate the fact that it's a place where their kids can roam the town and be more independent and not dependent on mom or dad or grandma or grandpa driving them somewhere to go and do something. So kids are able to be much more, that independence really helps their maturity because they have to communicate with lots of people from different backgrounds, different ages. And it's the way it used to be. People say, oh, yeah, that's how we used to grow up. Well, it's back, and it's hard to give up once you have it. So we're really happy that this is a place people and children can do that. Um, Also, the natural landscape becomes our residents' backyard. From the very beginning, we've tried to build a town that seamlessly blends into the natural environment, the built environment into the natural environment. And if you've been on my town tour, you've heard me talk about the transect, and that's really the design methodology that allows that to happen and to make this very seamless transition from urban to natural. Um, some of the perks for the vacation rental owners or for people that are owning these homes is not just vacation homes for friends and family, but also putting them in the rental program. It's a way for them to defray costs of home ownership. It's also great for personal use of your vacation home, meaning a lot of real estate investments you purchase and you lease out, but you don't ever really get to enjoy those properties. And the beauty of owning a beach house in a place like Seabrook is that you get to enjoy it, but also receive income, and you get to customize the calendar. And you also have a full breadth of services that we offer through our cottage rental department, house cleaning, security, maintenance, all of those things that just make having a vacation home a lot easier and less of a hassle. Um, and then the appreciation and value as Seabrook grows and adds merchants and amenities. We again, because of this critical mass we're about to hit in the town center, um, like what happened in places like Seaside, Florida, and Rosemary Beach, those places, the prices really catapulted once that retail critical mass was reached. And we don't expect anything different out here in Seabrook. Nobody has a crystal ball, but we are confident that all the hard work and planning that's gone into this town design is going to pay off in the future for not just homeowners, but also guests that are just looking for the best experience at the beach. There's just more things to do and more memorable moments with their friends and family. And then having the year-round desirability and appeal will also grow in tandem with the town's continuing growth. A lot of destinations, studies show that if they're further than a 3-hour drive, the length of own or how long people own those properties is typically much shorter than owning a vacation home within a 3-hour drive. So people own their homes much longer and use them much more often when they're less than a 3-hour drive from their primary residence. So also what makes Seabrook and the coast in general such a great year-round destination is you don't need any equipment, you don't need ski gear, you don't need chains for your tires. It's an easy place to get to any time of the year, and that's really why our vacation rental program is so strong, is that we have people coming in all around the year. And for those softer weekends or the less busy weekends, we fill those up with our events. And if you heard about our event this last weekend or were there, we had Savor Seabrook, and it was incredible event. We had over 70 wineries. We had live music. The park was full of action, and that was typically a slow weekend that we were running over 90% occupancy last weekend. So next year we'll be looking for those softer weekends and then adding more and more events throughout Seabrook's evolution. So introducing Market Street. This is our town center. Some of you have seen previous webinars on Market Street, but we're really excited to release these new properties and also open up these new businesses. So this is a great rendering of the town center. So this is what's under construction right now. The wall right here actually just went up this week. These 4 buildings here are nearing completion. 4 buildings here are nearing completion. The next building that we will start is actually here and here. And then the last one will be this grocery store, which we hope to have all of these under construction within the next 12 months. That is our goal, and we're pushing for that. And you can obviously see the town hall and then some of these houses in the South of Market neighborhood. By the way, if you can see my arrow, this is a house that we'll talk later in the webinar about. It's a house that I'm shocked to see that hasn't sold because it's right in where the middle of the action is going to be, and we think it'll be a great home in our rental program and a great vacation home. So this is just showing the progress looking up towards the town hall, the buildings under construction. The siding is actually going on over here. That's going to be our new sales office, which is also right here looking at the other direction. And you can see looking down the street, the ocean view at the end of the street. This whole town center was designed to take in those ocean views so that every retail business you walk in or walk out of, you're connected to that ocean. And then these balconies and bay windows up above will also capture those views forever. Those views will never be blocked. And that is part of the art of town building. We have a great new bookstore coming in that will be open either mid-June to early July. She's working on her inventory right now, and she's traveled and seen bookstores all over the world, and she can't wait to take the best ideas she's learned from these bookstores and implement that into her own bookstore. So we're really excited about that. Our kids store, toy store, is going to be expanding onto Market Street. So a lot more options for kids. And if you know Lindsay, who runs the toy store, kids store, she is really excited about her new shop opening up also mid to late June. We also have a new knitting store and yarn store that's moving in. So anyone who loves to knit, like my 4 daughters and my wife, they're going to love this new store. They're going to bring in really high quality yarns, and they're going to have classes, and it's going to be a real community surrounding around this art. We also have some additional new merchants coming this year. We expect to open up 2 new restaurants, a ladies boutique, an outdoor outfitter, a new jewelry store, an art gallery, and then there's several other things where it says question mark. Something's aging. We'll just leave it at that. Something's aging. but we are working on some other exciting new businesses that we hope to be announcing shortly. There's going to be a real wave of announcements with these new businesses, so we're super excited to share that with you. Some of the merchants on deck, a grocery store, an 80s style arcade, a theater, a craft brewery, and then a glass blowing studio. So those are just some of the merchants that we're targeting right now and are on deck for our town center. So this is actually that house that I pointed out in the rendering. This is our Coast Lily, and it's a 2-bedroom, 1.5-bath house, 936 square feet. You can see it over here. They haven't quite put the porch on yet, or they put the roof on, but not the deck. You can see the one next door to see what that will look like. But this is really centrally located, not only to the town center, but also the beach. And for someone that is thinking about having a home in the vacation rental program and looking to be a little more aggressive on renting it, this house we think will do very well in the rental program because of its proximity to the beach and to the town center. This is showing our farm district. So now working our way back into the farm district, you can see how these houses and porches have basically so they're circling the Horseshoe Park, kind of hugging the park, and all these front porches spill right onto the porch. And you can see at the very end, kind of the broken tooth here, this is where the most prominent house in Seabrook will be. It'll be the terminated vista looking across that park and then back out to the new Farmhouse Inn. So we've got a little fire pit here, and then a great lawn to throw a frisbee or throw a football. And then Stephen has designed all these spaces using Olympic National Park designs, details and designs to really give it that rugged Northwest look that we all love. So that picture that I was just showing you, here's the fire pit. Here's that lot that's available. This is actually the last and or final lot in the first phase of the farm district. And this is where our model home used to be on the park. We've actually been we moved our model home to lot 348, and you can see the barn here, and then the future Farmhouse Inn, which I'm going to be talking about here shortly, and then our community garden for those who live here full time and want to participate in the community garden. We've got you covered if you've got a green thumb. And then we also added 2 new tennis courts and a pickleball court. Pickleball is becoming a very popular sport, which is why we just added another court in south of Market neighborhood. It's actually in Overlook Park, and then our tennis courts are also lined for pickleball as well. So if you love tennis or pickleball, we've got you also covered. So now going into more of the colored illustrative plan, this just shows everything in greater detail. Here's the tennis courts, the pickleball court, the basketball courts over here. This is our new public restrooms across the street from the basketball court. And then here's the inn, the Farmhouse Inn, that will be surrounded by pasture and woodlands. And then, of course, the barn, the orchard cottages, and just leading into our new phase in the farm district. So this is still early, but it's not actually 100% accurate, but it's getting very close. This is a rendering of the Farmhouse Inn. This will have, I can't remember, 11 or 12 luxury rooms inside. It'll have a library, a great common area with an open bar or a cocktail bar, and a great indoor-outdoor fireplace. And then down below is the new location for Spa Elizabeth. So she's going to have all the really nice accommodations that you'd find in any spa, steam showers and washrooms and all of those things that will really allow her to expand her services and cater to couples and singles. and do a lot of weddings and wedding groups and spa groups that'll be coming out. The Farmhouse Inn will also have a yoga studio. It's not in this picture. It's actually attached to the main house, which is in front of this. But we're really excited to see this break ground, and I expect to see that breaking ground here in the next 2 to 3 months, if not sooner. So now jumping into South Farm, prices are starting in the $300,000 range, which if you've been following Seabrook prices, those are really attractive prices. It's been a while since we've been able to offer anything in that price range. So this is showing the South Farm District, which is just a continuation of the first phase of the Farm District. So it has all the same great amenities and is connected to these woodlands and pasture areas that are really, again, starting to mature and become really beautiful. What's new in the South Farm area is Barn Hill Park, which is a new design of Stevens that centers around this fire pit. It'll have picnic tables and benches and things like that for people to really enjoy their time out here. Again, throw a frisbee on the lawn. Our first release of homes is the Croft, which are these smaller cottages. These are where the homes, there is a home in here that starts at 300,000. I believe it's the Beach Daisy here, or the Daisy, I can't remember its exact name. And again, this centers around a fire pit. These one-story houses with two bedrooms on the main floor and 2 baths on the main floor are some of my favorite new designs. They're actually patterned after the Alder cottages, which were also very popular, but they had some design constraints that we basically designed a new and improved version that really we think will be very popular, not only as a vacation home, but also in the vacation rental program. Both bedrooms fit king-size beds, for example. They both have private bathrooms. There's a separate laundry area, and there's also a mudroom attached to these homes, which is usually an upgrade. And then we also released a few homes here. So all these homes that have numbers on them, these are all homes that will be released in our upcoming showcase, home showcase on May 19th, which we'll talk a little bit later. So if anybody wants a preview of these homes, you definitely want to reach out to one of our sales agents, Chris Wells, Holly Emerson, Jamie or David Quigg, and then Matt Kelly. They're all ready to serve you and get you all the information you need so that you can be prepared on May 19th when some of these homes are released. We also have this beautiful amphitheater area and new mountain bike trails that are adding to our single track in Seabrook. So we're close to 4 miles of total single track in Seabrook, and we expect to greatly expand that here shortly, and I'll be talking about that. And then for those of you who have seen the barn and the arena, it's important to know that these horses will be moving out of the barn in the near future. We're going to be designing and building a larger space for the horses so that we can actually allow people to board their horses for the weekends and take advantage of our trails and beach rides and things like that. And we also want to have horseback riding in Seabrook more available to the public. And this barn will be used more for events. We still will have some animals on the farm, some goats and some bunnies, and we've got our barn cats, and there's also some chickens that we're talking about bringing on site. But this arena will be more used for gardening rather than actual, horseback riding. So this is actually going to get more beautiful when we move this arena to a new location. So now showing you this newest phase that we released. These are the houses that have already sold in the Farm District or in the South Farm District. So one of the one-level houses with the 2 bedrooms, 2 baths on main level. We've sold one of those, and then we've also sold some of these houses on the corners. So these houses are already starting to move, and we're expecting to see a lot of progress here in the coming weeks.
Hey,
This is that.
just real quick, if you can go back to the previous slide.
Okay.
The question that I just received as you were going through it is, what is the name of those 2-bedroom, 2-bath homes that are on one level right in the middle there?
They are called the Trillium. The house plan is the Trillium, and a lot of work went into those houses. So we'd love for you to check them out and see what they're all about. So this is that new park across the street, just south of the barn. So these homes will actually front this great new park. Again, with a beautiful fire pit, picnic tables up here next to the arena, which again will be more garden in the future. We also have not the palm trees, but we've got in our amphitheater area, we're planning to have a slide like this built into the hillside. So again, minus the palm trees, we've got some neat little designs coming in our new parks in this phase. This is our Bluebell plan. This is I believe, our least expensive house in the farm district. And I believe this house starts in the 300 range. But again, you'll want to talk to one of our sales team members and get more details. Why we love this home is it has the ground floor bedroom, master bedroom. It has a great loft for the kids that they all seem to love. And it really just packs a big punch for having a beach house. You don't necessarily need the big house. This is just a great way to enter into Seabrook and to have a getaway, but also be able to utilize all of our great open spaces, the beach, and our trail system. This is also a very popular floor plan. As far as the program of this house, it has always been one of our most popular because it has 2 regular sized bedrooms, but it also has a bunk room that has 2 sets of bunks in it. And again, very popular with the kids. Yet the house is only 1,364 square feet. Most people walk into this house and they can't believe how big it lives. It feels a lot larger than 1,300 square feet, which is why it's been so popular. We love the house because it's got the open living area, living kitchen, dining. It still has a nice ground floor master bedroom that accommodates a king size bed. And then there's a flex space upstairs between the bedroom and the bunk room. So you not only get the 2 bedrooms and a bunk room, but there's also a great flex space for the kids or adults to have the big sectional couch and be able to watch a movie or play games. So it gives you 2 public spaces in this house, which again make the house feel really large. And then one of our larger houses that is going to be released here soon is the Bridal View, and this is actually right on the pasture, looking up at the barn and the new Farmhouse Inn. But it has this large wraparound porch and a master bedroom that has its own porch that you don't see in this rendering. It's actually behind it. But this is a very large house. Actually, it says 2,100 square feet, but I think that is a misprint. I think this house is closer to 3,000 square feet with the basement. We might be selling the basement as unfinished, but I believe the top 2 floors are over that 2,100 square feet with the attached master suite that comes with this house. And then you can see the houses that we are releasing first. They are in blue. The houses that are in orange have not been released, and they won't be released on May 19th. But the houses in blue are available between now and the 19th. So if you want to get the inside scoop on some of these houses that are coming out, again, reach out to our agents and get the details on these house plans and floor plans. And I believe they do have pricing on these, but we won't be able to accept contracts until May 19th. Now these pictures are progress photos, but they're showing some of these amazing new mountain bike trails that are being added. We're working with Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance out of Seattle. They built Duthie Hill. They built Tiger Mountain. They are the experts in building purpose-built mountain bike trails. So we've got some great little roller coaster kind of, I tell people it's like a roller coaster for your mountain bike, and that's the only way to really describe it. You literally feel like you're on a roller coaster. But this is um, a little trestle bridge here. You can see these berms built into the hillside, so you can carve these corners and get some really good speed going around these corners. And not only do adults love them, but kids love these new trails, and we're really excited to be working in tandem with Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance. And if you want the latest and greatest update on the bike trails, definitely check in with Buck's Bikes. Buck is all over these trails, and he's actually working them on his own. I mean, he's helping build these trails with Evergreen and making sure they're up to all of our standards. So we appreciate all the hard work Buck and his team and Evergreen have put into these trails.
Hey Casey,
Um,
just real quick on the mountain biking track,
sure.
we got a question from one of our listeners. Is the single track bike trail also available to walkers and hikers, or is there a plan to do something similar for people willing to walk and hike those areas?
Yeah, so these are built as multi-purpose trails, so they definitely are available to walk as you know from a hiker's perspective. But we also will be showing, and I let's see here. Yeah, so I'm actually jumping to um, the future plans for our trail system, and I'll be able to answer that question a little better here. But you can see these light blue trails. These are the trails that they haven't been opened yet, but these are all under construction and they're just now kind of mending and packing down. So we don't want to let mountain bikes on these trails before they're really mature enough to handle the abuse of a mountain bike. But you can see this green trail. Now this is a pedestrian only trail that crosses here. So you can get from the farm district up to the town center very easily, and it's a beautiful trail down here if you haven't seen that. But these mountain bike trails are definitely available for walkers, hikers. Obviously, both parties need to yield to each other, um, but we definitely want to have, a lot of our trails are specifically for um, walking only and not for mountain biking. And that's, of course, we have all of our sidewalks, our lanes, our pathways. Most of them are designed just for the pedestrian without a bicycle. But for the mountain bikers, we are adding again more trail here in town. We also have this couple of miles just to the south of us. If you haven't ridden that, Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance built all this trail. It's an incredible section of trail that connects here and up into the farm district. But what we're hoping to be able to announce later in the year is an agreement with the Department of Natural Resources. We have some really important meetings coming up with DNR. They own this piece of land, which is 160 acres. This is slightly larger than Duthie Hill. Again, if you're familiar with some of these more popular mountain biking locations, but Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance has already designed a trail system here that will accommodate beginners, intermediate, and experts, and including a little tyke area for the really small guys and gals that almost have the pedalless bikes, but they can get a taste of what it's like to get their tires dirty and get that feeling of mountain biking. And then we also have 40 acres here that Grace Harbor County owns, and we're working with them to turn this into our new equestrian center and also have pastures and gardens so that we can grow as many vegetables on site to support our growing town center's needs. So we want to be as sustainable as possible, and this 40 acres is kind of a perfect location for us to harvest local vegetables and produce to support our needs here. So this mountain bike trail, again, it's not official, it's not announced, but we've been working on this for several years with Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance. It has the support of lots of politicians in the area and one of our local senators, Derek Kilmer, our county commissioners, Hillary Franz, who's in charge of DNR, has been out here and would really like to see us make this happen. So stay tuned on that because this is going to be a very big draw for Seabrook. These are just some images from our last weekend Savor Seabrook. Again, one of our probably most successful events, a beautiful weekend. You can see the line down here. This was just for the scallops. People were lined up to buy scallops, but like I said, we had over 70 wineries and they all are excited to come back. And that's the sign of a great event, is when all the vendors are wanting to come back and the guests are already rebooking for next year. So the most important upcoming event, if you're considering buying a house in Seabrook, is our Showcase of Homes. It's Saturday, May 19th. I'll actually be giving a tour specifically for the South Farm District, kind of explaining all the details that have gone into it, that our team has put into it. And we'll have live music, refreshments, and again, we'll have tours planned. So we hope to see you for that showcase weekend. I believe there are still houses available for that weekend to rent. So, but you don't want to wait too much longer, because those showcase weekends usually fill up, because it's the really very few opportunities during the year when you can see a lot of houses at once. We'll have resales that are available, and also several new homes and new floor plans that you can see firsthand. Most weekends or during the busy season, we can't get into those homes because they're booked, and that's a good problem, but hard sometimes for someone that's thinking about buying a house because they don't really understand what all their options are. And then we also have a great event coming up on June 9th. So if you missed the showcase, think about coming out for Doggy Days. It's a great event, always fun for anybody that loves pooches and wants to enter their dog in an event or just watch all the dogs participate. It's just a lot of fun. And then just some other upcoming town events. We have the Settendemai Parade, which is May 12th. It's our Norwegian parade, which is also very well attended and has grown a real following. Again, May 19th is the home showcase. We have our Hood to Coast event on June 1st and 2nd. It's too late to sign up for the Hood to Coast Washington, but if you just like to see people run in through the finish line, they have a great party, great live music, great food, and a beer garden at the end. It's just a blast. So hopefully you can join us for one of these great events. Also, June 15th and 17th, we have our 3rd annual AVA beach volleyball tournament. AVA is oh gosh, what is AVA? It is the Alki. Thank you, Alki Volleyball Association. Was where the AVA comes from, and they bring college coaches out. They do clinics. We actually have, I forget his name, but he's a former gold medal Olympian who does a volleyball clinic for adults and the teenagers that show up. And then our Saturday markets kick off on June 30th. So lots of exciting things happening in Seabrook. Hopefully you'll be able to join us out here soon, and appreciate you taking the time. This is a little longer webinar than normal, but there was just a lot of information, and we wanted to make sure for those of you who are really serious about considering Seabrook as a place to own, that you get all the information. So we really appreciate you taking the time out of your lunch, and I think that's my last slide. Oh, I do have some questions for those of you who want to stick around for questions. My screen.
Yeah, and we can run through those pretty quickly.
Okay.
I know people have been very patient with us today. We already answered a couple along the way. One question in particular about the beach volleyball tournament is: are only pros participating, or can amateurs participate as well?
No, definitely it's for amateurs, and we have some players that actually do play like semi-pro and pro or have been pros. So it's a great mix of amateurs and to be able to also watch these really skilled volleyball players and their championships and the tournament environment.
And the last question we'll take here for the event as well is the Hood to Coast the same Hood to Coast that happens in Oregon?
Yes. So Hood to Coast in Oregon is the largest relay race in the world. It attracts 20,000 runners a year. That's all they take is 20,000, which is a lot. But there are 20,000 runners that can't get in, that try to get in, can't get in. So it is becoming it's a huge draw. And so we are so fortunate to have Hood to Coast select Seabrook as their finish line for the first Hood to Coast Washington. This event is actually um, a shorter version of the Hood to Coast in Oregon. It's kind of a primer for the main Hood to Coast. So a lot of the people that love running Hood to Coast in Oregon, this is a way for them to come in, kind of get warmed up. But it's also a more family-friendly version because you're not out on the road overnight. The Hood to Coast in Oregon, you actually spend the night on the road, usually in a sleeping bag in a gym or something. But this is designed so that the participants can bring their friends and family down, and they can enjoy themselves while they're out running. And then, of course, this great party at the finish line. So they're seeing this as more of the future of events. It's harder to get people to commit to 2 days, but here for a one-day running event, but then being able to spend the weekend at the coast is also very attractive for these runners and their groups they bring with them.
And just real quick, Casey, the following slide there, I want to make sure that we honor some of the questions that people had sent in during the sign up. Um,
Now
during,
my screen is frozen, so I can't get to that page.
I see. Okay, well, there was a question that had come in before the webinar began that asked, how exactly does the cottage rentals program work? There we go. And
Okay,
are
I
there
just got it.
any criteria for rental homes furnishings?
Um, Are there any decoration furnishing criteria for rental homes? Yes, there are. We have a list in cottage rentals that we give you that tells you all the basics that you need. But the homes that are more successful in the rental program are the homes that really think through all the details of what guests want. And if you've been someone that's been staying out here for a while, you kind of can tell the difference between homeowners that have really thought through everything and owners that have kind of left their houses a little too basic. And it's not that we necessarily want to have a lot of stuff. We just want things to be comfortable, easy to use, and great beds, great couches. The spaces that people are going to spend the most time, those areas really need to be thought through. So the homeowners that really go a little above and beyond usually see more successful results in our rental program. All of our homes do well, but when people ask, well, what are the homes that do the best? These are the homes that people have really gone the extra mile to finish their homes. Now, if you're someone that's not confident on what those things are, we have great interior designers that can help you and can actually walk around, show you a few of the best performing houses that they've furnished, and then so you get a feel for what those are like, and then they can do that same thing for you. The next question, Evo. This next question: how does the cottage rental program work? Well, that's a great question. It's a long answer. We actually have, if you reach out to one of our sales member or sales team members, they have a FAQ for the cottage rental program. Basically, how it works is our owners keep 63% of all revenue created from booking your home, and then Seabrook takes 37% as a management fee, and we do everything under the sun for that management fee, meaning we book your home. We have a 7-day-a-week call center. We market the home. We have a full cleaning staff, full maintenance staff. We do have on-site security. We have a linens program, so you don't buy your linens here. We uh, sell you the sheets and the towels so that you don't have to be replacing those. We're able to replace those on a mass quantity basis, and people really like our linen program. But our cottage rental program is really unique, and it's because we're on site. Most vacation rental companies that are managing homes, they are not on site, and so they can't give the high touch services that we can. So we're more like a hotel operation than we are a vacation rental company, because we only manage homes on site rather than having them spread out all over, and you can't really give the guests the attention they need. So for example, if someone's renting your home and the remote control isn't working, our goal is to be at that home, giving them the support they need in less than 5 minutes. Even when we're busy, we try to do that, and that's the kind of uh, support you just don't get with a regular vacation rental company. Also, we check in the guests, and so we get to see the guests physically before they go into the home. So, for example, if they rented a house that was not pet friendly and there's a dog, they have a dog, or we see one, hanging their head out the back of the car, we can prompt them and find out, what their plan is with that. So it's a great protection for our homeowners, for us to be able to see and verify that the people who are renting the home are the same, or the people that are here are the same people that rented the home. So again, there's a lot more information out there. You can also talk to our general manager, Christoph, or our assistant GM, Emma Lopez. They're great at answering those questions, and of course our sales team can answer a lot of those as well. What are the requirements to become a shop owner? Well, first, you need to love the idea of living at the beach. You have to want to be someone that is thinking growth along with Seabrook, because growth is happening very quickly out here. So it's a great opportunity for someone to get on the ground floor. But this town center is going to become more and more popular as we go. I mean, if you think about places like Leavenworth, you can go there on a Wednesday now, and the streets are busy with people. So we expect, same thing with Cannon Beach. Cannon Beach is actually the better example, and that is our biggest competition is Cannon Beach for people looking for a high quality experience. And when our town center is done, we think that those people that were going to Cannon Beach will be coming here. So you want to have a business that you are passionate about, but it's really mostly about customer service, having a good business plan, and really exceeding exceeding your customers' expectations. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something you're a total expert at or super passionate about, but it's more fitting a niche that is needed in Seabrook to support our guests, homeowners, and visitors. So the next question, has the community around Seabrook grown the way Seabrook has? The answer is no. And the reason for that is there's a limited supply of sewer and water capacity. And that's one of the big barriers to entry for new development on the Washington coast. So from Seabrook down to Ocean Shores, there is no public sewer, no public water. So you don't see growth in areas where there isn't sewer capacity and water capacity. That said, there are some neat things happening in downtown Pacific Beach, some new shops that have opened up. There's talk of new restaurants opening up. So Pacific Beach will eventually start to become a more vibrant little town and have more shops and services. But it's moving slow because there's not the residential density in proximity to support those businesses like we have here at Seabrook. So those are some of the questions that we've got. If we received one of your questions and we didn't answer it, we'll make sure that we get you an answer. But again, we really appreciate you taking the time. It's been an hour. This might be one of my all-time longest webinars. So if you're still with us, thanks for being with us, and we hope to see you out at the beach soon.